Great. Good morning, everybody. We are recording this webinar. So welcome to our presentation today on accessing county workforce resources. I'd like to thank you for joining us. My name is Shelby Wood, and I work for the City of Westminster in the Department of Economic Development. My job is to manage our small business resource programs here at the city, including developing and coordinating training opportunities like this one. Questions are always welcome, and our presenters have made themselves available after the webinar to touch base with any questions, comments, program development that you would like to explore, and their contact information is on the last slide of this PowerPoint. When we do conclude our presentation today, a copy of this recording and a copy of the PowerPoint will be uploaded to our training library on the westminstereconomicdevelopment.org website for reference. Now, the purpose of our webinar today is to learn more about county workforce resources. We know workforce is a hot topic in the business community right now, as it has been for a while. So this is an opportunity to share what's available, how to obtain qualified staff, and financial resources to help offset hiring and training costs. Westminster is uniquely positioned in that it straddles both Adams and Jefferson County. So today we have partners from both of those organizations who are going to walk us through their programs and how they can help your business. From the Adams County Workforce and Business Center, we have Joel Parrott, and he is the Business Services Supervisor there. And from the Jefferson County Business and Workforce Center, we have Mike Amon, who is the Business Services Supervisor for his location. And from here, I will kick it over to them.
Thank you, Shelby. Even though we have different titles, we really do the same thing. There's a workforce center in every workforce region, and we don't compete against each other. We really do try and work with each other. So don't worry about, oh, I'm going to go to Jeffco or Adams County. We work together kind of by out of necessity. So just want to get that off the top. So if you walk in any workforce center in the state, the services I'm going to talk about here should be available to you. They are available to you. So it's just a matter of how they deliver them, how many people they have assigned to them, and maybe they deliver them in a different way. But these kind of things are available to every business, and that makes accessibility for job seekers as well. So I'm going to talk about a few, then Michael's going to talk about a few. So the first one I want to talk about is job fairs. And for us, there's really three types of job fairs. There is a job fair where we have multiple employers that come to our place or to a facility that we have, and we market that job fair to as many job seekers as we can and get a lot of job seekers going to meet with many employers. That's what we call a job fair. Another one event we have is called a hiring event, and for us, that's when we have one employer that we promote for the specific, maybe the benefits or the specific jobs, and we're trying to recruit for that employer for one specific employer. Maybe it's 2 or 3 different positions, those look unique. For us, I know we set our employer out in front of the workforce center, kind of in our lobby. I think, Michael, you do the same thing. They're in your resource room or near your lobby, so you really get that more intimate back and forth rather than having to feel like you're cattle, maybe going through a job fair where you have to talk to maybe 10, 15 different employers. And the other type of job fair that's available right now is a virtual job fair where employers can set up a virtual booth, and we will drive job seekers to that booth. They can submit digital resumes. They can do a digital interview with somebody, and that's available online. So then the access point for that virtual job fair really can be from their home. It can be from a library. It can be from any workforce center actually in the state. They can access the Adams County Virtual Job Fair. A lot of times they are cross-regional job fairs. So that's one event we offer to employers for them to access and do candidate resourcing in different ways. They want to set up a table, they want to set up, be with a bunch of other employers, or we can set them up online. So that's what we would title a job fair or hiring event. Again, there's 3 different types of that for us. And I really should have started with the second bullet that's on here is connectingcolorado.com is really where it all starts. It's built up of 2 different databases. One is employers who post their jobs. And then someone from the Workforce Center will look at that job, make sure that it has everything in the job description it needs, and then post it. And it'll be available to everybody in the system who's on unemployment insurance or somebody who accesses connectingcolorado.com, which is the state job database, and they can see the skills, they can see if they fit. The other thing about Connecting Colorado is once that job is posted, it will send out an email to people registered in Connecting Colorado, that's the other half of the house, and say, hey, there's a job just got posted, you qualified, you want to learn more about it. So jobs will actually come looking for a job seeker. But half of the house of Connecting Colorado where employers post their jobs. The other half is where job seekers post their skills and their interest and their work history, and then they can access the employers from that side. And that's where we can serve them with different types of things like workshops, or maybe we can pay for tuition for going to school. And we use that database of job seekers on that half to serve them, to say, find out how many people are unemployed that are in construction, looking for construction jobs, or how many are looking for nursing jobs. So those two halves of Connecting Colorado work together to support each other. Jobs get posted on Connecting Colorado. They'll find the job seekers. Job seekers can go into Connecting Colorado and search the database of employers. So it really is a good connection activity as far as registering either your jobs or your business with connectingcolorado.com. Also job seekers. And I said unemployment insurance, and for people to collect unemployment, they do need to register with connectingcolorado.com, but anybody can register in connectingcolorado.com. Anybody wants to just, I want a different job, I want to know what's out there, I want to play the field, whatever. Connecting Colorado is a great way to do it because it is so resource friendly and no cost. And I forgot to mention this, everything I'm going to mention is of no cost to employers. There's never a fee for a service that we deliver to an employer. It's already built in. So that's Connecting Colorado. The next one here is customized training funding. Now, we don't do a lot of this, but you should know that it is available. What that is when an employer is looking for maybe a certain skill and they can't find that certain skill, we can partner with a school or with a community college or with a training facility, and they can offer a training that's maybe has a certain cost to that facility, but we'll pay for that specific type of training so that somebody can learn that skill to be eligible for a position for an employer. So they don't necessarily have to go to, let's say, Front Range Community College and take their associate's degree training to be eligible for a job. We can work with that school to provide customized training on a certain skill. Maybe it's a software, maybe it's a piece of equipment that an employer is looking for, and the employer works with us and the school to customize that training so that somebody is made eligible for a position they're looking for. Like I said, we don't do a lot of that because we have a lot of other types of ways that we can train people up, but it is available. So if you have somebody that, man, I know that Front Range has, they can train people on power tools, and I wish I had somebody to do that. We can work with a school maybe to train that specific, like I said, tool, software, item, whatever that training might be, so you can find people with specific skills you're looking for. So that's what customized training funding is. This next bullet, on-the-job training or internships, this really has a big umbrella under work-based learning, but on-the-job training is it's a great tool for employers that they need to take advantage more. Imagine paying half price for somebody you're going to hire. You looked at somebody, you look at their resume, you think, okay, I'm going to have to do a lot of training, but this is the guy I want, or the woman I want. How about if the workforce center pays half of their salary because you know there's going to be extra training that you're going to be doing to train somebody up for the skills that you need for the position? That's what on-the-job training is, and we have funding for that. So it's really one of those things where I don't know why more employers aren't looking to work with the workforce center to get a half-price employee for the first 3 or 4 months of onboarding. I think it's exactly what that is. But during that time, we can identify the skills that need to be trained in that first, let's say, 3 to 4 months that are critical. And maybe you don't necessarily see those on the resume or in the interview, but you know that you're going to have to do that extra step of training. Let us make that and pay. Like for us, we can pay 50% of the wage. It can be more, depending on the region you go to, depending on what maybe local workforce boards decide. Maybe they say, construction is really a key thing. So for on-the-job training, we're going to pay 60, 70 or more percent of the on-the-job training. But at any risk to the employer is really just, I'm making a commitment to hire somebody. Let the workforce center partner with you to pay for that extra training that happens. For internships, it's another type of work-based learning. How about this? How about we pay all of the training that you're doing with somebody? Now, here's the thing about internships is that the employer makes no commitment to hire. They only make a commitment to train. So maybe that employer is having to identify somebody, a supervisor, to commit more time and effort into training somebody that they don't really know if they're going to hire. Maybe even when they interview them, say, well, this isn't going to work out. But they're willing to train this person so that they're better for the whole industry. This is that rising tide lifts all boats type of thing. If employers are out there that are willing to have an internship programs where they're already doing training, imagine having a free employee. Now, you are going to have to train them, but a free body in your business that all you have to do is train them, and you're probably training a lot of people anyway, So you have that free person that is working on things and you're helping them understand the industry. One, you may help them understand that, you know what, this whole healthcare thing, bedpans, people whining, I don't want to do that. You're helping them actually gear them towards another industry. But an internship can be a long interview. Wow, this intern that we have, I wasn't making a commitment to hire, but this person's really working out. And I might want to offer them a position at the end of that internship. And like I said, how about 3 to 4 months of a free employee while you evaluate that person? And maybe you say, thank you very much. I hope we taught you some skills. Or maybe you say, let's talk about a position that maybe we can offer you. So on the job training and internships for that 50 to 100% of we're paying the salary for that person while you're doing some training as an employer. And then you can make a decision what you do at the end of that. And on the job training, you are making a decision to hire them up front. Internships, hey, 100% free, and you don't have to make that commitment to hire. So that's part of what work-based learning is. And those two things, every region has funding for that is only growing. When we look at the federal dollars that are coming down the pike, I've only seen that increase over the years. I've never seen it decrease. So that's the first 4 bullets. So I think Michael's going to tell you a little bit more about the rest.
Thanks so much, Joel. That's going to be a tough act to follow. So next, I want to talk about incumbent worker training. So I think incumbent worker training is one of the most exciting services that we have to offer for a couple of reasons. So first off, this is one of the services that I would call it one of our newer services. It's one that traditionally many of the workforce centers around the Denver metro area haven't engaged in very much, but it's really growing in importance now. And it's a really powerful tool for businesses. So what incumbent worker training allows a business to do is apply to their local county workforce center for training for current staff to upskill them. So this is a very flexible program and it's business driven. The purpose of this, there's two potential kind of purposes for this if you're a business looking at doing incumbent worker training. One is if you're seeing layoffs in one part of a company, your company. So if you have a company where you're expecting layoffs in one division, but maybe there's another division that's growing, you could apply for incumbent worker training to reskill those employees so they could move into the part of the company that is still growing, to help them thrive there and to help you continue to staff up in that area. So layoff aversion is one potential reason you would want to apply for incumbent worker training. The other one is a little broader, and it's essentially if there's training that would help you take some of the employees at your company, if they did some sort of short-term training where if they got that training, it would help both their career and the competitiveness of your company. And so what that could mean, just an example, is if you had an employee maybe in manufacturing and they were working in production. And so maybe you got them some sort of supervisor focused training, and then maybe moved them into a first line supervisor position. That'd be a perfect example of incumbent worker training. You're taking somebody, getting them training, moving them up to that next level. That is another way you can utilize incumbent worker training. It can be utilized across all industries, as long as you can demonstrate that it is going to be both helping the competitiveness of your employee in their career and also the competitiveness of your business. So both Adams County and Jeffco offer incumbent worker training grants to businesses. So if that's something you're interested, I'd urge you to reach out to whichever county you're located in, because that can be a really powerful tool for upskilling your current staff. Next, apprenticeship support. So apprenticeships are growing and growing in the Denver metro area. So, looking back, traditionally, I think we mostly associated apprenticeships with construction. The construction industry has apprenticeships that have been established for decades and decades and decades, and they've been a really powerful tool for them as a talent pipeline to get people from basically coming out of high school or transitioning into the industry into being expert electricians and plumbers and everything. Other industries now are seeing the benefit of that. There's a lot of industries across our metro area where there are not enough people who have like the technical skills needed to be successful in their industries. And so businesses are addressing that by creating apprenticeships. So if that's something you're looking at, if you need to establish a pipeline, and apprenticeship sounds like it might be something you're interested in, I'd encourage you to meet with your local workforce center. Your local workforce center can get you started on that path. We can talk to you about some of the different types of apprenticeships, the different ways of structuring them. And then we can connect you to an apprenticeship consultant who can help you look at that whole process of registering your apprenticeship and basically getting that registered as an apprenticeship so that you can create that. We can give you that program. We can give you examples of other apprenticeships, kind of curriculums and stuff that have been done for similar occupations and industries. So there's a lot of resources out there for businesses that like to create apprenticeships. And then once you have that apprenticeship created, or if you already have an apprenticeship, I would urge you to contact your local workforce center, because one of the things that we can do is help you recruit people to join that apprenticeship. So if you're struggling to get people to join your apprenticeship program, contact your local workforce center. We'll help you get the word out about that. And then also we can help determine if those new apprenticeship candidates are eligible for grant funding. So there is grant funding out there right now for to support some of that training cost associated with new apprentices. So that can be a powerful opportunity, because running an apprenticeship program can be quite expensive for a business, but also worth it in the long run, because you get just custom tailored new staff. Next, wage and labor market data. So the wage and labor market data, your local workforce centers have access to a number of different software systems that can be used to pull together labor market data for the Denver metro area, city and county specific as well. And we're seeing this being used more and more, I think particularly because there has been inflation over the last couple of years, and that inflation has hit wages. And so when companies are posting their positions, many companies really need to know, are their wages in line with other wages in the metro area for those same occupations? And that's something the Workforce Center can help you figure that out. So if you're going to be posting a job maybe for the first time in a year or two, reach out to your local Workforce Center, ask them to see if they can do some labor market analysis for you, so you can determine with the wages you're looking at, how do they fall in line with your competitors, or are they below average? Are they above average? And that's going to be really important for you to know when you're looking at attracting candidates. The final thing I'm going to talk about is sector partnerships. Sector partnerships exist across most industries in the Denver metro area. So IT, manufacturing, construction, transportation, to name a few. And what they are groups of businesses that have come together to solve challenges that are facing the industry as a whole. So those challenges could be virtually anything. It could be recruiting, it could be retention, it could be other things. It could be things with like supply chain issues and things like that. But sector partnerships are business driven, trying to basically businesses identify common needs and things that could be done to solve those issues. And then what's key about sector partnerships is they are then set up to leverage public partners across the Denver metro area, from workforce centers, economic development, chambers, high school districts, community colleges, any public partner. Sector partnerships are set up to, once the businesses determine what needs to be done, then they can lean on those public partners to help make those things happen. And so there's been some really great results that have come out of these industry-focused sector partnerships. So if you're seeing something in your industry where there's something that's impacting your business that is something that would be better solved across your industry rather than individually at your company, I'd encourage you to reach out to your local workforce center. They can connect you to the appropriate sector partnership, and then get it plugged into that conversation and see if there's other interest from businesses on working on that issue. And with that, I'm going to say next slide.
So like I said before, everything on that last slide you can access from any workforce center and participate with no cost. But each workforce center does have specific things they work with that are unique, maybe to their region, maybe to what the local workforce board wants to focus on. So maybe some specific programs are developed locally that aren't necessarily in other regions. So I'm going to focus on stuff that's available in the Adams County Workforce and Business Center. But the first bullet you see there is our veterans program, which actually, interestingly enough, we share a veterans representative with Jefferson County. So that veterans rep actually also works with Broomfield. So he's able to share the veterans assistance in each of those counties, share information. He does specific recruiting. They have a medallion program. If there's an employer looking for a a veteran because maybe they fit their needs. And a lot of times, veterans maybe have the certain skills that some manufacturers, security, military, post police officers are looking for. So having a veterans program that kind of goes across lines, they don't really care about where the border is. They want to help employers wherever they're at. They do that. We do have a veterans rep that serves our specific region of Jefferson County and Adams County. And again, like I said, Broomfield. Another thing that I think is fairly unique to Adams County. Now, I think all of us do something like this, but we kind of title it and have it a program of we have an employment bank for all of our work-based learning. So when we like to meet with an employer, find out what their needs are, and if we think a work-based learning opportunity, which is again is an internship, an on-the-job training, maybe a registered apprenticeship, maybe incumbent worker training, we get some information and we put them in an employment bank or employer bank so that we can access that bank from one spot. And also the other staff who work at Adams County know if they're in that bank, that means they've been vetted on what a work-based learning opportunity is, so they can accept an intern or an OJT. So we kind of build up our bank and we promote that bank. Being in the bank is a big deal to staff and to employers. So we call it an employment bank. I think other people probably do something like that, but we just make that a focal point for our staff for OJTs and internships specifically. But Michael talked about sector partnerships. The one that we feature is Transportation Sector Partnership. We are the convener of that. We do a big transportation job fair every year. We try and do events like open houses at the CDL schools. So we've made that a focus. We convene because of what the industry and what the local workforce board says, hey, this is a big deal in Adams County. You need to take the lead and find out what those needs are. So that's why we are the lead in that sector partnership. But I know we've already heard a lot about that. We have an assessment tool that I think is fairly unique. It's used to be called, it was called Connexa. Then it's been 5 or 6 different titles. Right now, it's just that we call it the PHL assessment. This is a fairly interesting tool that some of the unions are using with us. And what that is they want to assess the skills or knowledge base that an individual has, and they don't want to do the assessment. They want an outside entity to do the assessment, then just send the scores or that assessment result to them. So we have this tool that employers can sit down and choose what do we want to assess. Is it Excel and Word, and maybe it's computer skills? Maybe it's for construction. I know there's some blueprint reading and things like that. There are some assessment modules that are specific to individual industries, and we can build a set of modules, or maybe just one module that an employer likes and wants. We can develop that tool, and then we can moderate that tool. We can have the job seeker come to the workforce center. We can have them take the assessment on site, time it, whatever the employer would like, and then send those results to the employer for part of the evaluation of either hiring or maybe even evaluation before the interview. So again, that's what the unions are using this a lot for, eligibility for their registered apprenticeship programs. There's a couple software programs that are software employers that are asking us to do some software and tech assessments before they want to hire anybody, because a lot of people, I know computers real well. Let's actually assess those skills. So there's a way we can build a tool that assesses at least their general knowledge of some tech knowledge before they make the commitment to interview. So we have that as an assessment tool. We have something fairly unique where if anybody's ever heard of Work Options, it used to be called Work Options for Women. It's a culinary training program. They're actually located here and at Denver on site. They are our cafe. The Human Services Center in Adams County has a cafe run by the Work Options Culinary Training Program, and because of that, their staff, their admin staff, are located in. They're like 3 booths over from where I'm at right now. Their staff are here, and they work with getting our job seekers trained in culinary training. So we have a direct pipeline into culinary because they're here on site, and that cafe is here on site. So we do a lot of certificate programs for culinary certifications. We also do some internships that are culinary internships on site, specifically because Work Options is here in the building and in our admin offices. So that's something unique. I think Denver has the same thing. Another program we have, I think, is fairly unique, is the Adams County, the government, has a program called Up and Adams, and it's outside of the Workforce Center. It's actually in the Human Services portion of it. But Up and Adams is a program supporting homeless and very low poverty individuals who might be in dire straits of funding. They can do a lot of supports for this population, but they wanted to create a pipeline where while they are finding them housing, while they are finding them child support, while they're doing all the things of these people that are just in crisis, we put them up in some internships, again, through this employer bank system, strictly because those employers know I'm taking on somebody who's homeless. I know I'm taking on a lot of barriers, but I want to support this industry. And what we found is, or this population, we found there are some employers, community partners, nonprofits that are so into helping and being a part of community, they're willing to take a risk of taking on somebody who's homeless. And believe me, there are risks, but we found that the ones who take that risk are finding the reward of, wow, I didn't know if I put that much effort into helping this one person, they make leaps and bounds beyond from where when we first do the interview, they didn't have a home, they didn't have a car, they maybe had they had a background issue, maybe a misdemeanor or something like that. They get past that so quick because a job gives them importance. It gives them a direction. And so this partnership we have for internships for Up and Adams, we've seen make a big difference in people's lives. We also have something fairly unique. Front Range Community College is on our board, and they came to us as a sponsor of registered apprenticeships, and they were working with us for those. But they had a situation where people were taking classes and needed to take an internship in order to get college credit, but it wasn't paid. So it was kind of out of the students' pockets to be a part of an internship, even though the internship was part of a classroom setting or part of a classroom commitment they had to make. We've worked with them from IT and for some healthcare. So some people are going for association degrees or degrees that need an internship, and we'll pay for those internships, even though before they weren't. So it's a kind of unique paid internship for college credit that we didn't do before, and that's a partnership we have with Front Range Community College. There are also some of the workforce regions have this program of migrant seasonal farm workers because their region supports so many farmers and growers, and we're one of those regions. So we do outreach to migrant seasonal farm workers and farmers. We call them growers. They don't like to be called farmers, they're growers, but they do a lot of work. We help them with any supports they need to find the seasonal hiring of migrant seasonal farm workers. And then we help those workers with all supports they need, and they need a lot, right? They're going to need some ESL help. They might need help with work affidavits and with other family supports because they are here on a seasonal basis, maybe on a work visa. So we have that. And again, there's several other regions that have that, but it is specific to, we're one of the ones that do have to do housing inspections for migrant seasonal farm workers. We go out and do field inspections. We look at those growers and those workers on site to make sure everything's going okay. We have a program at Adams County for those people on TANF, or temporary assistance for needy families or low-income individuals with children, where if they are having trouble with some of the things they need to do to find a job, to do interviews because they don't have the computers, we have a Chromebook supply program where they apply. If they meet the criteria, we give them a Chromebook, and it doesn't take much work other than if they are eligible, and we get a supply of the Chromebooks, and they are there. It's for them to have basically a laptop computer, no cost to them, so that they can do better job search. They can be everything they need. This whole world needs a computer right now, and when you're in that poverty situation, a Chromebook can go a long way. So we have a Chromebook program here at the Workforce Center. Then I mentioned it earlier, I think it's a fairly unique situation we have with what's called the Wyoming, Colorado Regional Hybrid Job Fair. So we have a hybrid event, a job fair, that is joint with several other workforce regions. Michael had one, I know there's actually in Wyoming, they're part of this event as well. But at the same time, we have a on-site job fair here at the Adams County Workforce Business Center in our Human Services Center, where there might be 15, 20 employers here in our site, as well as the 30 or 40 employers that are on the virtual site, and they kind of interact with each other. So you can apply for a job in one place and access the virtual job fair, and you can leave your resume there, or you can be on the virtual site and find out what employers are at the regional sites. I think last time we did this, there was 3 different on-site in-person job fairs that partnered with this virtual job fair situation. And like I was saying earlier, we had the 3 options, but to combine them really had some synergy for us. and we had a lot more participation. So for employers, it means you're going to see more people, you're going to see more resumes, you're going to see more conversations, you're going to get access to maybe a resume from somebody from let's say Greeley, even if you are a Westminster employer. That's possible, and that person may want to relocate. You don't know, but this wide reach that we have with this one regional hybrid job fair, we've seen some benefit to, and we want to continue that kind of unique job fair type of activity. So all these events I just talked about, again, no cost to you, and you probably get some version of this at a lot of other workforce centers, but we label them and market these specifically. So any questions you can ask, call, or email me, and I can tell you more about these specific ones. You can go to the next slide.
All right, thanks, Joel. I'll take over from here. So Jefferson County Business and Workforce Center, as you guys can probably tell, we offer a lot of the same services. There's a few things I'd like to highlight that I think are kind of unique to Jefferson County. And so one of those is our Employer Talent Development Program. So Employer Talent Development Program, this is what we call incumbent worker training in Jefferson County. And this program is a really powerful opportunity for businesses to get funding to upskill current staff. So the way this works in Jefferson County is we'll have an application period where businesses can apply for that grant funding to upskill staff. What that's going to look like, if this is something you're interested in, is coming soon, later this year, we're going to have a series of virtual information sessions where you can jump on and learn more of the specific details about the Employer Talent Development Program grant funding options. So you can learn more about what you can use the funding for and what you can't use the funding for. Kind of what are the timeframes? How does the how does the financial aspects of that look? And then also the application process. So if you're interested, you're going to want to get on our list to get notified of those information sessions. So please reach out and I'll put you on the list. So we'll send you the invite for the information session. After that information session, we're going to have basically we'll be available to meet with any businesses who want to apply. We can help walk you through that application and answer any of your questions. Because as you apply, you're also going to need to kind of identify what kind of training you're looking to have your staff do, and the cost and the time frame. And so we can help you work through that process. So that's the Employer Talent Development Program. Our next round, this will be our third round of this program of applications, is later this year. Next, the TechP program. So TechP stands for Technology Employment in Colorado Partnership. And this is TechP 2.0. So this is the second round of this grant. This is a really powerful opportunity for businesses, particularly in IT and manufacturing, to tap into some specific industry-focused grant funding to help bring more people into your industry. So what we're seeing is a couple of different ways this funding is being utilized, and I think there are more ways it could be. So in our case in Jefferson County, because this is a regional program, not specific to Jefferson County, we're partnering with local training providers and colleges to work with their programs that where people are going through and getting software development training and also computer support training. So we're helping to support those students as they come through that and then move into the workforce. And there is TechP funding available to do that. So one thing we're seeing is IT companies in particular being interested in hiring some of these people coming out of these training programs and then tapping into some on-the-job training funding, grant funding, as you bring on these rather raw graduates. Use a little on-the-job training grant funding to get them trained up to where you need them to be as a company. So that's a really great opportunity. We're also seeing internship opportunities in IT and manufacturing coming through this TechP grant. So if you have employment needs in IT and manufacturing in particular, I would encourage you to reach out to your local workforce center, talk to them about TechP, and if that's something that would be useful to your company. And then finally, I want to highlight our P4 internship program. So all of the workforce centers offer paid internship programs. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the P4 program, which is what is specific to Jefferson County. So P4 internship program, we've developed this over a long time, and just to kind of hit some of the high points. What this is these are project-based internships that are mentorship focused and they're cohort based. So the reason we do that, so first off, project-based internships, we've seen better outcomes for both the business and the intern with project-based internships. And what those look like, so for some internships, those could be 10% of their internship, others, they could be 60%. So we work with businesses to help them identify what kind of projects they might have on the back burner, that would be appropriate for interns to work on. And kind of what that looks like is an intern comes in, looks at this project, kind of comes up with how they want to do it, works with their supervisor slash mentor there to come up with a plan, and then they implement it. And then at the end of the internship, they have really something to show for. And then also, because this was something that the company needed done, the company has something done as well, which is really valuable. And finally, I've personally supervised an intern, and I've spoken to other people who have many times. If supervising an intern can be a lot of work, and oftentimes, you get pulled away because there's some fire that you have to put out somewhere in your job, and that can make it really hard to manage that intern. And if there is a project where an intern can be working on a project, if you get pulled away to work on something else that's really urgent, they have something in place to work on, so that kind of hour-to-hour management of interns is eased, which makes it more successful. So that's why we focus on project-based internships. We really want that mentorship focus. We offer training for employers if they have never done this before, around both the mentorship / supervision and also how to create projects. So if that's something you're interested in, please reach out. And then, like workforce centers around the area, our internships are grant funded. So we cover the intern's salary, workman's comp, and they are not on the payroll of the business. So I think that's the P4 internship program is something that we're really proud of in Jefferson County. We've seen really great results from that. And if that's something you're interested in learning more about, please reach out. I would connect you with our work-based learning team, and they're happy to help. With that, I'm going to say next slide.
Thanks, Mike. I also want to kind of conclude us, take a couple minutes to share about how Westminster can also support your business. You will notice that we are not set up to administer the wide array of resources that both Joel and Mike have shared. So my job at the city level is to help connect our Westminster businesses, regardless of which county you fall in, to these resources that are available through all of the local channels. We do have a dedicated page on our website for workforce resources. The link is listed here. One new item that we've done here in 2023 is we've expanded our trainings related to workforce to cover more of those workforce specific topics. We have put together a 4-part series, with this being our last one. And we have covered topics ranging from managing your current workforce. We did have one teed up for apprenticeships that we will be rescheduling later this year. But we also did one on the resources that the community colleges can provide to businesses, and now this one from our county partners. We also have a matrix up on our website, which kind of helps link to specific resources available, from internships to career fairs, and how to partner with certain organizations or schools to help find those workers that you need. And lastly, in 2022, we did launch a new program, which is very similar to programs that both Joel and Mike offer, which is called our Job Training Incentive Grant. So this grant, like I said, is similar to the ones that are available at our counties, but it also helps cover those costs associated with onboarding a new employee to help reduce the risk of bringing on someone new. You can see on the slide here that the 3 types of training and onboarding costs that are eligible for this grant, we will reimburse 50% of those costs with a maximum of $5,000. To sweeten the hiring local incentive just a tad, we are offering to bump that reimbursement up to $6,250 if you find somebody from a Westminster institution. So say that's a Westminster high school, a Westminster trade school, something that gives you a specific skill set to move into a job, Front Range Community College. All of those, if you shop local in Westminster, could be eligible for that extra little bump in that grant reimbursement. One note, this grant is only available to certain qualifying industries. So we have those kind of listed out on the last bullet. And the last point that I want to make, the city also does provide a program related to upskilling or reskilling your current staff, which is separate from the Job Training Incentive Grant, which is geared more towards bringing on those new hires. But this is our Small Business Scholarship Program. This grant will reimburse 50% with a cap of $1,000 per business per year to help offset some of those continuing education costs. So if you have questions or are interested, want more information on either of those, I am happy to connect and send links to that. Last slide, here is our contact information. We are all available to take your questions, comments, outreach at any point. So please definitely take advantage of all of us as a resource to help support your business. I would like to extend a huge thank you to our county partners today for their time, their expertise, their wealth of knowledge, and all of the work that you do to help support both Adams and Jefferson County. It doesn't go unnoticed. We are very appreciative to everything that you guys do. One last push. Did you guys have anything final that you'd like to add before we wrap up the webinar?
Just for me, one thing, I just now noticed my email is not ads co, it's adco, adcogov.org. So that was my fault. I should have saw that earlier.
No, good catch. And I didn't catch it either. So I will make sure that gets corrected before we put the PowerPoint up on the website.
Yeah, well,
Mike.
I would just say thanks so much for having me. I definitely love the opportunity to be able to speak and work more with employers in Westminster.
Well, thank you both again so much. Again, I really appreciate your time and your expertise. A huge thank to any of you who are watching this recording at a later date, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.